the wrong environment. Now, this is coming from 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 10 through 12. And it says in verse 10, "And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin." But before I go any further, we need to speak about this. So David is the armor bearer for Saul, and he's made to be a person that helps Saul get over this evil spirit that comes from the Lord by playing the harp. And so, in the same sense, in our relationship, we can both be a benefit to one another, which is why it's a mutualistic relationship. I help you and you help me. But what happens is there could be an environment that's not welcoming to that mutualistic relationship. What do I mean? So instead of you've gotten a raise in your job, but your spouse may not have, and you may feel as though that now we could contribute more to our wants as well as our needs, right? But your spouse may not feel that way, especially if it's the woman who got the raise versus the man, because there are insecurities that are met there. So as the man or either side of the spouse gains these insecurities, instead of them looking at it as a blessing, they see it as a curse, and they start to distinguish how you are changing, right? And again, feelings are just feelings. Feelings don't have understanding as its foundation. So the feelings are just that. It is not accompanied by understanding nor knowledge. So what the heart feels, it feels. And if you don't use wisdom, you can have a relationship that meets a downward spiral because everyone is feeding off of each other's emotions instead of what is fact, what is real, what is happening, what is prevalent, what matters. And especially if you're the wife having to speak to the husband, it's up to you to not undermine the husband, but take the time, as Peter says, taking that time to get on that level of having that meek and a quiet spirit, that he could understand that, hey, she is really not different. I just need to grasp at that and understand that she's still my wife and she wants the best for us. And God has blessed her and God could still bless me. So let's keep reading in 11. It says, "And Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul." So this is a very different circumstance than just finances, right? You could be in a spiritual warfare where you are honing in on who you want to be in God. You no longer want to be that lukewarm Christian. Saturdays are party days, or all throughout the week is nothing to do with God. And then Sundays, you're playing the part. You don't want to be like that. You're getting to that point where your mind is starting to say, but why are you going through that? It's a double mind. Double mind deals with more anxiety, more doubts, more confusion. So you no longer want that. So as you're demanding more from God, you also are demanding more from the people around you. And what do I mean by that? You want change from them as well, right? Because another portion where Peter spoke clearly about this is how the people who were back then, who used to party with you, hang out with you, they don't understand the changes that you're going through. They don't understand why you don't want to go to the club anymore. But maybe it's not, again, for them to understand. They have to see the change within you. And if they don't want to be a part of that change, you have to learn to move on. Now, in consideration to your spouse in that change, we look at this and say, well, wow, David went ahead. He got this spear thrown at him twice. Why not leave? Why not divorce your spouse? They're arguing. They're bickering all the time. It doesn't seem like your words of wisdom is getting to them. So maybe it's time for them to change. Maybe God has someone better in store for you. Okay? That's the easy way out. You can't build a great story, a great platform based off of you quitting or divorcing your spouse. You build on your relationship. You don't eliminate your relationship. The wrong environment is just that, the wrong environment. So maybe you need to take it outside of the house. Maybe go out to a dinner. Maybe speak about what matters, right? Maybe you need to do more listening than speaking. Not every change needs you to be the spokesperson. Maybe you need to let the change just happen organically. Whereas the husband and the wife know and the children know that they too have to change. But you have to give that time. And what you're giving time to is not really to them so much and the changes that encompasses them, but you're giving the opportunity for God to step in and change hearts, change minds. He cannot change minds and hearts when you have a plan B to divorce and move on and get a bigger house alone without your children, without your spouse. And again, it comes back to what I mentioned in the beginning. There are some fights that are not worth fighting for, but your marriage is not one of them. Continue to fight for that marriage. Because oftentimes it's just a lack of communication. You may feel as though you're saying everything that needs to be said correctly, but it's just not the time and it's just not the season. Just hang in there. God will work it out. God will turn that wrong environment into the right environment with time. I know you're looking at it and saying, wow, it's been a year. It's been 2 years, Pastor. It's been 5 years. He's still not getting it. There's still problems. There's still fighting. Okay. But 1 day is as 1,000 years and 1,000 years as 1 day with God. So time means nothing. You're going to realize when God gets his foot in the door and really sets things in order, you're going to forget about those years. Because the next couple of years are going to be years of bliss and sheer joy. So you're not going to worry about those days where bickering and fighting was an everyday thing. And it seemed like every conversation ended in an argument. Just hold on to God. It will get better with time. Continue to work on yourself. And God will continue to work on the people who truly matter within your life. And soon enough, you will realize that you will be sticks that are bound together that cannot be easily broken. God bless.